Okay, we're gonna go ahead and make the soup, starting with chicken. My chicken is not thawed out. I'm the worst at remembering to do thawed chicken. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and put chicken in there. It calls for 2 chicken breasts, but I don't have breasts. I just have tenders, so I'm gonna do 5 chicken tenders. And then it says to go ahead and pour your corn, which is supposed to be undrained, just some sweet corn. I'm gonna pour that over top of it. And then also you're going to do some diced tomatoes. You can do the Rotel diced tomatoes or just whatever. I just have these on hand, so that's just what I'm going to do. You're just going to do the same thing. You're just pour that over top of that. And then you are going to do some black beans that you have drained, washed and drained, like rinsed and drained. And you're just going to do that over top of there. And then we're going to do some ranch dressing seasoning mix. You're going to do the whole packet. You're just going to sprinkle that over top the whole thing. And if you hear a noise, my little girl's in there watching something, so that's probably what you're going to hear. All right, then you're going to do 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Just sprinkle that over top of it as well. And then you're going to do 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And then 1 teaspoon of cumin. And you're just going to sprinkle that all over top of it. And then we're going to take a 8-ounce cube of cream cheese, and you're just going to lay that over top of it. Add your lid, and we're going to cook it on low. So let's see here. We're going to cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours is what it said. Okay, this has been cooking for about 3 hours. As you can see, the cream cheese is kind of broken up. So I'm just going to kind of stir it around. The chicken is already getting soft. There's some in there right there you can see. So I'm just going to stir it up a little bit and then put the lid back on it for the rest of the cook time. Okay, this is what it looks like after cooking for about 7 hours in the crock pot, and we usually just top ours with some sour cream and some cheddar cheese or whatever, taco cheese, whatever you want to use. And then we'll eat it with these chips, those like scoop chips. You can crumble them up in it or just scoop it out, or you can use crackers, just whatever you prefer. But this is definitely a quick, easy meal for those days that you just don't know what to cook for supper. This one is like a good go-to. Okay, for our next recipe, we're going to do some slow cooker beef tips. These are the items that you're going to need. This sauce, I'm not even going to say the word because everybody makes fun of me every time I say it because I do not say it right. Some pepper, some beef broth, some salt, some cornstarch, some mushrooms. It said 8 ounces of mushrooms. I have 12 here. And then 1 large onion. And it calls for 1 to 2 pounds of beef top sirloin steak cubed. I just buy like the stewed beef cubes, and that's what we always do. It's a little bit of a cheaper option. And they always turn out good as long as you cook them for the cook time. They always turn out nice and tender, and this recipe really has a lot of flavor, so they turn out great with just using that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of oil, whatever oil. I usually use olive oil, and we're going to add our beef cubes, and we're going to go ahead and brown them on all sides. And I apologize for the way the camera is. I filmed all this and realized that I had the camera turned the wrong way, and I couldn't go back and refilm it, so this is just what we have, and I apologize for that. And so we're just going to brown that on all sides. Do not cook it for a long time, just kind of brown it. And then while that's browning, we're going to go ahead and add our onions and our mushrooms to the bottom of our crock pot. Okay, once that meat is all brown, we're going to add 2 1/3 cup of beef broth to that. Let it come to a boil, and then set aside 1/3 cup of that broth. And then you can go ahead and add your beef tips to your mushrooms and onions. And then we're going to take that 1/3 cup that we set aside of broth and add our 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And that's what's going to give you that gravy and thicken it up while it's cooking. Okay, then you're just going to add that cornstarch mixture into your crock pot and cook it on low for 6 to 8 hours, or high for 5 hours is what I did, because we had this on a Sunday afternoon, so I didn't have that amount of time to cook it. But it still comes out really tender and just so much flavor. The mushrooms and onions give it so much flavor. And then I usually just do it with some rice, some of this instant rice I get from Aldi's. It literally is ready in 5 minutes. It's so quick and easy. And then I threw together some garlic green beans in the skillet, and you have a yummy, quick, delicious meal for a Sunday afternoon that really didn't take a whole lot of time to do. Okay, now we're going to do a crock pot apple crisp. You're going to need 5 pounds of apples. I did half and half of Honey Crisp apples, and then I did the Granny Smith. And this is a little bit time consuming to cut all these up, but you're going to cube them all, and you're also going to do 1 cup of grated apples out of that. And so that does take a little bit of time to get those all cut up and cubed. 5 pounds is a good bit. Then you're just going to throw that all in a bowl. And then you're going to add your other ingredients to it. This is the 1 cup of grated apples that I did. And then you're going to add 3/4 cup of sugar. And I had 1/4 cup of sugar, so I had to do it 3 times. But then you're going to add in, after you're done with the white sugar, you're going to add in 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And then 1 tablespoon of cinnamon and 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. And 1 teaspoon, of lemon juice. Then you're just going to mix that all together really good. Make sure all the apples are coated with that sugar and cinnamon real good. And then we're going to put that into our crock pot and go ahead and make the topping for it. Okay, now we're just going to take another bowl for our ingredients on the top of our apples. We're going to take 1 cup of rolled oats, 1/2 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and also 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to take 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and we're just going to cut that into it. You can use a biscuit cutter to do this, or you can use a fork, whatever you feel is easier. I just always use a fork, and it works great. And you're just going to continue to do that till your butter is more like little pea sizes mixed into that mixture really good. And then you're going to take that mixture and you're going to pour it over top of your apples. Okay, then I'm just going to add my lid to it, and I'm going to put ours on high for about 4 hours because we were having this for a Sunday evening snack. So I wanted it to be ready when we got home from church, but you can cook it on low. Because we were gone a little bit longer than we planned, the sides got a little extra crispy, but it still turned out really, really good. I usually do mine in the oven, so this was a different thing for me to try, but it was nice to have it ready when we got home from church. And then I just add some vanilla ice cream, some whipped cream, and some caramel to it. Made it real good and healthy, but it was really yummy. And one of our fall favorites that we always have in the fall is apple crisp. Okay, now we're going to do a slow cooker honey apple pork, and we're going to need 7 ingredients for this. To start off, we're going to make our rub for our pork, which is going to be cinnamon, pepper, and salt. And you're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. And you're just going to mix that all together, and you're just going to rub that all over your pork loin. But before you do that, you're going to cut 12 little slits in your pork loin, and then you can go ahead and do that rub on your pork loin after you do those like 12 little slits throughout your pork loin. And once you're done with that, you're going to need to cut up 4 Granny Smith apples, slice them in like half an inch slice, and you're going to stick those in all of those little slits. You're just going to stick 1 in each little slit, and then the rest you're going to use here in a minute. Okay, this is what your pork loin should look like after you did the rub and the apples. And then you're going to go ahead and cut up 2 sweet onions and slice them up and put them in the bottom of your crock pot, and add the rest of those apples that you already cut up, and you're going to add those on top of your onions. Then you're going to set your pork loin on top of that and take 1/4 cup of honey and just drizzle that all over your pork loin. Okay, then you're just going to cook it on low for 6 hours. Don't overcook it or it will get dried out. But ours was so juicy, had so much flavor. It was just yummy. It was just falling off. Like when I cut the little pieces, it was just little pieces. It was so yummy. You can take the juice from it and drain the fat off and make like a gravy for it. Or we're going to make some air fryer red potatoes. So we're going to take 1.5 pounds of red potatoes, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, and then 2 tablespoons of some ranch dressing mix, and just sprinkle that over top of your potatoes. And then, of course, you know, stir them up real good so that they're all coated with that oil and the seasonings and stuff. Then preheat your air fryer for 3 minutes on 390, and then just add your potatoes, and you're going to cook those for 8 minutes on 390. Toss them and then cook them for another 8 minutes, and they just turn out so crunchy and yummy. They're just great. And you can throw whatever vegetable you want to throw in there. I made some carrots this night. I make them in the microwave if I'm in a hurry, and just add some butter and salt and pepper, and they just turn out crunchy so they're not real soggy and stuff. But this was a really yummy fall meal. Okay, now we're just going to make a caramel cream cheese dip for apples. You're just going to need a 8-ounce cube of cream cheese, some caramel, and some toffee bits. And you're just going to take your cream cheese, set it in the center of a plate, and cover it with caramel, whatever caramel you have or you want to use. The jar caramel might be easier than squeezing it all out on there, but that's just what I had. So put a real good coating of caramel on that, add your apples, and then some toffee bits to the top of it. And this is a great, like, when the kids get home from school snack, or just in the evening, the fall evenings when you just want a little extra something. And it's so easy. You can't get any easier than this, and it's really yummy. Okay, that's all that I'm going to have for today. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, I would love to have you join my channel. And also, if you try any of these recipes, go over and tag me on mommyofalltrades_ on Instagram. I would love to interact with you over there. I hope y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you in the next one.